Are you starting to get really frustrated with your Tinder and online dating results, and you're starting to wonder if there could be a better way to start meeting women? Or have you been thinking for a while about starting to learn to cold approach, but aren't really sure if it's going to be worth all of that effort? A couple of months ago, back in Feb, I made a video comparing online dating to learning to cold approach women. And one of the things that I really failed to do in that video was outline all the incredible ways that learning to cold approach women affect your life in ways that have nothing to do with women. In fact, learning to cold approach can change so much positively about your life that it's an incredible skill in and of itself. So whether you're really struggling to keep motivated trying to learn to cold approach women, dealing with all of that failure and rejection undoubtedly every man has to go through, or whether you're just sick to death of Tinder and online dating options and want to do something more and want some inspiration, this is the video for you. Most of you probably already know that I teach both online dating and cold approaching, so I have a relatively unbiased view of them both. You know, Tinder and other online dating apps they can be a lot of fun. The truth is that if you can get good at Tinder and online dating, if you can start to get good results, then you can absolutely make a killing. It is true. There are really hundreds of women at your fingertips. The downside, and in many ways the dark side to Tinder and online dating, there's a couple. First of all, you need to be sort of just above average to, very good looking to get great results. The worse looking you are, the harder and harder it is to get results. So if you start to become below average, it starts to get really, really hard. That's not a secret for online dating. But more than that, it's interesting that the majority of men and women who I work with on Tinder find that after using Tinder for a period of time, over a number of weeks, their self-esteem starts to crash. And it's an interesting part about using online dating and Tinder is that the way they're set up, it hurts most people's self-confidence. Cold approach, on the other hand, is a very, very different beast. There aren't any shortcuts. You can't just whack up a good photo and it's suddenly going to work magic for you. You really, really have to learn some serious life skill sets. And interestingly, it's true. One of the main benefits, just when we talk about women, of cold approaching to Tinder is that the quality of women, I don't just mean looks, I just mean quality is in their mind space, their headset, their intelligence, just a whole package. You meet better packaged women approaching out in real life than you tend to meet online and on Tinder and whatnot. But most of the serious benefit to cold approaching lies in the stuff that has nothing at all to do with women. You see, the majority of what you're learning when you're cold approaching has nothing to do with women. The majority of what you're learning are these complex social skills. Being able to connect with people really quickly, being able to tease and banter with people, that's a skill you use with everyone. Being likable, connecting on a really deep level with people you've just met, right? These are all skills that you use everywhere, that you use in life. Having influence over people, learning to deal with rejection, learning to deal with failure, learning to have faith in yourself, learning to place value on yourself and go for things that you truly deserve. It's something that a lot of men really struggle with, and they're skills that most people go through life and actually they never learn them, and they end up living, as a result, lives of just horrible mediocrity. So if I were to share with you some of the ways in which my life is infinitely better because I learned to cold approach, and we don't talk about all the women I picked up along the way, all the fun I had with girls, all those adventures, cut those out. Let's talk about the other stuff, like how is the rest of my life dramatically better? Well, I'll tell you. When I was 24 years old, here's a great example. I had no experience as a trainer, as an educator. I had no background in finance, right? And yet, I managed to talk myself into an interview and then get the job as the head trainer, program trainer for one of Australia's largest private lending institutions. And I didn't lie, I didn't deceive, I didn't do any of that stuff. It's not like I had a fake resume. No, I was me. But what I did was I made myself extremely likable. I built massive rapport with the people interviewing me. I built massive rapport with the people who were the gatekeepers to actually get me into the interview in the first place. And as a result, they wanted to hire me. They were looking for a reason. They were looking for an excuse to hire me. And at the end of the interview, basically, it came down to this. They said, we find something really interesting about you. We'd like to trial you for just 1 month. If you can impress us in a month, you've got the job. And I got it. I should never have gotten that job. No one else could have gotten that job. It was just so unlikely. I was horribly unqualified. When I go and I purchase goods, especially secondhand goods that has, a lot of flexibility on price, I get way better discounts than anyone else. Why? Because I connect with the people selling. I build really amazing rapport with them. And when we feel like a person is like us, when we really feel understood and connected with that person, we're way more likely to offer them a great price than we would otherwise be. I also can't begin to tell you how many incredible, just amazingly lucky networking opportunities I've had. Because I'm so easy for me to connect with people and create likability very quickly. A lot of people that I meet in my just networking business professional life, they want to work with me. They want to find ways to join businesses together. And I've had some incredible opportunities as a result of that. And lastly, and I think this is actually in many ways the most important, it kind of relates to women, so it's a little bit of a cheat, but my long-term partner, I mentioned that you will meet better quality women when you cold approach, but more than just meeting women, you will actually learn what a quality woman really is for you. You'll really know what exactly is a great match for you, what you really want in a partner, and you'll be able to find that and get that. And, I've been with my partner for just over 10 years now, and I'll tell you this for sure. There is no way I'd have been nearly as successful in business if I didn't have her by my side. I think of myself as a good businessman, and I really believe I am, but boy, oh boy, does she add to that. And not just that, just my whole life is better. If you've ever had a bad partner, like a shitty partner, you know what that's like. It destroys your life. But a really great partner makes your life infinitely better. And these are the things, I never would have met her either if I hadn't have done this learned attraction stuff. Now, given that your whole life is going to be improved, not to mention your sense of well-being and your overall happiness and your confidence levels are going to be through the roof. Obviously, cold approaching is just this magical cure, right? No, of course not. And this is the scary side for a lot of men to learning cold approaching. And that's that you are going to have to face some serious demons, right? There's no shortcuts here. There's no way around it. You're going to have to deal with some stuff that you've been avoiding dealing with your whole life, or stuff that you're not even aware that you're going to need to deal with. One of the biggest demons that 90% of guys who I work with end up having to deal with, and this is nice guy syndrome. It's a really common one. That's where guys have very poor boundaries. They are constantly eager to please other people, women especially. They don't look after their own needs first. And what happens is they go through life feeling like they're being walked over. They are walked over their whole lives by women, taken advantage of, taken for a ride, used for free meals, used for this, used for that, used for free transport, you name it. And these guys, what they do is they externalize, they blame women. They become really resentful, angry at women, angry at the world, angry at the culture we live in. And yet, a lot of this is created by you. And a lot of men don't realize this, and it's a really hard thing to let go of. I see a lot of it in my comments. Now, obviously, a nice guy syndrome isn't the only reason men might be resentful towards women. There are many other reasons that I won't go into here, but nice guy syndrome is one of the biggest, and it's one of the hardest for guys to work through, but it's just one of the things you're going to have to get through, right? Something else a lot of men really struggle with is learning to deal with failure and rejection. You're going to get rejected. I know a lot of men, myself included, who have had a lot of success with women. And I'll tell you what, there is a hell of a lot of rejection. No matter how good you get, women are going to turn you down. Women are going to reject you. Women are going to say mean things, and you're going to have to deal with it. Learning to face failure, do things knowing you're probably going to fail, is the hallmark of being successful at anything. I've failed in business more times than I care to count. I've made so many mistakes with School of Attraction, this business and other businesses that I run. It's crazy. But that's how you grow, that's how you learn, that's how you build something amazing. And I never would have learned these lessons had I not first started learning to cold approach. Many of you watching probably don't know, but I spent about 3 years traveling around the world as a mobile entrepreneur, digital nomad, and you'd be amazed how many men I met, business guys, traveling the world, who have really great businesses that they run, started learning cold approach. When they learn what I do, you have no idea how many of those guys were like, yeah, I learned pickup. I got really great at it when I was in my early 20s. Right? They've moved on now. They're doing more important things with their life. But the point is, they first started there. And that's how they learn the skills they use to build businesses, to take chances, to leave their safe full-time jobs and do all that kind of stuff. I think when you're trying to learn cold approach, there's something vital that a lot of guys miss. Because what they do is they focus just on trying to pick up and shag a whole bunch of women. That's what they focus on. But that doesn't work, because what happens is women can feel that. They can feel that you're just desperate to try to pick them up. Instead, a much healthier attitude to have is learn cold approach because you want to become a better man. Learn cold approach because you want to deal with your demons. And cold approach is a really great way to learn that. Learn cold approach because you want to become the man you dream about being in your dreams. When you fantasize about a great future, you want to be that guy, the guy who's in charge, the guy who doesn't hold back because of failure, the guy who believes in himself. You want to be that guy. That's why you're doing cold approaching. Oh, and getting lots of women, that's a bonus on the side. Because when you have that mindset, women feel that. When you approach women with that mindset, they don't feel like you're desperate. They feel like you're a man who wants to become a better man and improve himself. And that's attractive to women. Now, I want to leave you with one last and really important thought. If you're going to start learning to cold approach, you have to be super, super careful who you allow to be your coach or mentor or inspiration. There are a lot of guys who are good with women who are seriously damaged goods. Because the truth is that you can be damaged in particular ways, emotionally damaged, stuff that you haven't dealt with in your life, that is still attractive to women with low self-esteems. So you can get guys who can pick up and shag a whole bunch of women, and they've got some serious mental issues to go along with it. Who's a perfect example? Well, you guys probably know two men, Eric von Markovic and Neil Strauss, better known as Mystery and Style, from the original book of Pick Up the Game. Now, you all probably know that Eric Mystery had a couple of emotional breakdowns in the book, The Game. And Neil Strauss himself, who I really like and admire, by the way, I really like this guy, but a few years, I think about 4 or 5 years after The Game, he wrote another book called The Truth, which was a book all about his ongoing issues with sex addiction, intimacy troubles, inability to have healthy relationships with men and women, all as a result of all this deep-seated childhood trauma and childhood issues that he never dealt with when he was on his journey to become a pickup artist. And truth be known, there are a lot of really successful coaches out there who are like this, who are damaged goods, who have stuff they haven't dealt with. They haven't really focused on being better quality human beings. They're just focused on trying to shag a lot of women. And the danger here is that you want to be on that journey to become a better man, not just a guy who shags lots of women who's still broken, who's got issues, because one day you're going to have to deal with them. Maybe not today, but one day you will. And so if you listen to the mindsets and the philosophy and the rules and the coachings of men who are emotionally unhealthy, you're going to start to bring some of that onto yourself. You're going to have a mindset towards women that comes from a space of not being healthy, right? It comes from a bad space, not a healthy space, not a well put together space. And you don't want that. Fortunately, there are good men out there. And I'm not just talking about myself. There are some really great coaches out there. I've been around the world talking at a whole range of events, dating coaching, self-development. And yes, I'd say 80% of the guys I meet are really, some of them big names, really unhealthy people. But there are good ones. So how do you find them? Well, here's the thing. Don't just look at how successful guys are. That alone, I mean, of course a guy's got to be good with women. Well, otherwise, why would you let him coach you? That goes without saying. But that can't be the only metric, because the world is full of them. Instead, you've got to start to look at the guy as a whole. What else does he have going on in his life? So, for example, if there's a guy who seems to be doing well with women, but he hasn't had a girlfriend in 10 years, like is incapable of having a long-term relationship, that should be a red flag. It doesn't need to mean it's a terrible thing, but it should be a red flag, because if women will date you, will have sex with you, but they won't ever go near you in a relationship sense, that's a red flag. That could be a clear sign of problems on the horizon. If the only thing he has going for him in his life is his ability to sleep with women, like that's the only thing that's happening, that's a red flag. You know, talk to these people on the phone. Look at how they interact with the media. Look at how the world sees them, because these things tend to be quite important. If you're really well put together, people are going to see you, and they're going to see you for who you really are. For example, every time I interact with the media, right? Every single time, knock on wood, it's been positive. The response has been a positive thing, not a negative thing. And the reason is this. when I interact with women and men in the media, and I've had feminists interview me who originally intended to do a really scathing, cutting piece on me. When I interact with them and they learn who I am and what I'm really about, and they can see I'm a well put together man really trying to help men become better men, all of a sudden they want to write something positive because they can see that I'm one of the good guys fighting the good fight. These are the men that you want to find to help you on your journey, because that's what you want to be. You want to become one of the good men. One of the good men, sure, who gets lots of women. There's nothing wrong with that. But one of the good men who's well put together, who's healthy, because that's what this journey is all about. Now, if what I've said to you today has really resonated with you, I highly recommend you check out my book, Sincere Seduction. It is a book written, the name says it all really. It's about learning to seduce women from a place of sincerity and genuineness, like no lies, no manipulating, no game playing, becoming a better, more confident, more healthy man that women are going to be attracted to. I wrote this book a number of years ago. It's won a whole bunch of awards. Check it out right now. It's on special, so, jump on it while it's hot. I know that this video is going to create a little bit of controversy. Some guys are going to love what I got to say. Some guys are going to hate it. Let me know in the comments below. If you're going to hate on me, say more than just, I think this is BS. Tell me why. Let's have a conversation about it, because otherwise I'm just going to assume you're emotionally damaged and you've got issues going on and you're venting at me, and that's not my problem. But if you want to talk about it, I'll talk about it. As always, if you liked the video, of course, as well, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and click the little bell icon so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. I'm Damien. I hope you've enjoyed today. Have a fantastic week. Take care.